So you have been controlling your nutrition while training consistently, and the inches have been dropping off your waist. Nice work. But then you step on the scale and it's staying at the same number. Should you be concerned, or is this actually a good thing? In today's video, I will discuss the difference between losing fat and losing weight, because you do not always have to lose a lot of weight to get leaner. In fact, if you manage to build some muscle while losing fat, then you can have a fantastic result without your body weight changing much. On the flip side, if you do lose a lot of weight but the majority of it is muscle, you may be left with a result that you do not want, in which your body shrinks as a whole but you still have stubborn fat, resulting in a skinny fat look. When most people set a weight loss goal, they typically mean that they want to lose some body fat while at least maintaining muscle to create a more lean and athletic physique. Depending on your body fat percentage, 65 to 85% of your body weight can be considered lean body mass. This includes things like muscle mass, water weight, and even food in your gut. Knowing these facts, you can also see that changes in your body weight do not always have to be reflective of body fat changes. For instance, the human body is physically able to store a few pounds of fecal matter in the colon. During times when you are more stressed, you might also have more water retention than usual. So if you have been feeling more constipated or stressed lately, that might impact your body weight measurement. But these scale changes do not say much about how your underlying physique is developing. This is why with my clients, I very much maintain the perspective that our objective is not to just lose weight, but it's to lose fat. And in order to measure whether we are properly losing fat, we need to do more than just measuring your body weight. Because just using your scale weight does not paint a complete picture. Measuring your body weight is still a useful data point, but it is just one of the several data points we need to interpret to gauge your fat loss progress. So next to measuring body weight, I also suggest that you have 3 other measuring tools. To be specific, that's tracking body measurements, progress pictures, and tracking workout performance. It happens at times where someone is not losing much weight, but we are losing inches around the waist. The physique is looking leaner every time that person takes progress pictures, and performance in the gym is improving. In this case, does it really matter if you lost just 3 pounds instead of 6 pounds in a month? I would argue no. Because you probably have built some quality muscle or are experiencing fluctuations in other bodily tissues that are impacting your body weight. If we look at the progress as a whole, if your measurements are decreasing, you're getting stronger in the gym, and you overall just look leaner, that's exactly what we want. So in essence, do not focus too much on the scale. In the long term, as you lose body fat, losing scale weight is also part of the process, but it's not everything. Especially when tracking short-term fat loss progress, consider your body weight can fluctuate for a variety of reasons that have nothing to do with fat loss. We see this in the research too. In one study on untrained police officers, the police officers lost 9 pounds of fat in 12 weeks, but because they also gained 7 pounds of lean body mass during that same process, their total weight loss was considered slow. But I can assure you that when someone loses 9 pounds of body fat while gaining 7 pounds of lean body mass, the way that person feels, how lean they look, and just how strong they are in the gym all improve. So now that you know that fat loss should be the main objective and not weight loss, how can we ensure that we lose fat in the most effective way, while avoiding weight loss in a way that causes muscle loss without actually getting leaner? Well, it requires a fat loss approach that is focused on muscle preservation while being in a moderate calorie deficit. If we look at typical weight loss approaches, they include lots of cardio, lowering calories aggressively, and maybe some light lifting weights. Because that's the typical weight loss approach, most people also tend to struggle with actually achieving their objectives, since it tends to result in quite a bit of muscle loss. As a more effective approach, your fat loss phase should have 2 core pillars. One is maintaining a moderate calorie deficit to promote fat loss. The second is to focus your training approach on lifting weights to preserve muscle. Let's start with an overview of nutrition. We want to maintain a moderate calorie deficit so that the need of fat loss is there. But we should not decrease calorie intake too aggressively, since this tends to increase the risk of muscle loss. If your calories go too low, this typically means you will not have enough energy to put up a good performance in the gym, resulting in lower strength output, which inevitably leads to muscle loss. As a general rule of thumb, maintaining a calorie deficit of 20% is a good aim. So if you burn roughly 2,400 calories per day, consume around 1,900 to 2,000 calories to create a deficit. In this example, we do not want to be rushed and crash the calories all the way down to something like 1,600 calories per day, because it won't put us in a good position for muscle maintenance. Next to calorie intake, we also need a good daily protein intake to help promote muscle recovery throughout your fat loss phase. Research shows that maintaining a relatively low protein intake while in a calorie deficit increases muscle loss. So I typically advise my clients to consume at least 1.6 grams per kilogram of their body weight in protein to support muscle maintenance. Now, when it comes to training, traditionally many people have been wired to focus on burning calories while being in a fat loss phase. But in actuality, it is more effective to focus on performance improvement and lifting weights. The calorie deficit we just discussed with nutrition will cover your fat loss. That energy deficit will force your body to burn excess body fat for energy. Now with training, we want to make sure that we send the signal to your body that the muscle you have is important and necessary. So we need to lift weights for muscle maintenance. In the research, we consistently see that being in a calorie deficit without lifting weights results in significant lean body mass loss. We want to avoid this loss of lean body mass, which for a large part will be your muscle mass, since that's what's responsible for creating that lean look as you lose fat. So instead of focusing on doing tons of cardio, I would suggest a 75 to 80% lifting focus and 20 to 25% cardio focus in the fat loss process. This means that if you train 4 times per week, then you have roughly 3 lifting sessions and 1 cardio workout on a weekly basis. The main purpose of the cardio here is getting general health benefits. We know from the literature as well that for the best long-term health outcome, combining lifting weights with cardio is beneficial. That's why some cardio is definitely still recommended, but we do want to have that clear bias towards lifting weights mostly while in the fat loss phase. For both how to calculate your calorie deficit and how to set up a strength training program, I will link videos that I have made in the description below. Now, you may be thinking, cool, these are fundamental ways of how I can set up an effective fat loss phase, but what if I want something extra? Are there any supplements I should take? And quite frankly, when it comes to losing fat, the literature on fat loss enhancing supplements is not promising. Recently, a research on fat loss supplements found that typical fat burners do not meaningfully enhance fat loss and oftentimes have baseless claims. The 2 supplements that have been tried and true in the scientific literature actually do not come in powder or pill form, but they are more lifestyle related. To be specific, it is going for regular walks and improving your sleeping habits. I have shared before how one study found that just walking an extra 30 minutes on a daily basis can help improve fat loss progress by 20%. Other research found that sleeping 7 to 8 hours per night instead of only 5 hours significantly improves fat loss progress and muscle maintenance. So let's focus on the variables that matter instead of searching for a pill that might have a 0.25% of a benefit. And that was it for today's video. I hope you now have a better understanding of why it makes sense to focus on losing fat instead of losing weight. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Also, if you found this video helpful, then leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video.